Hello everybody, welcome back to a topic that is only interesting to myself, and as always I'm your host, Cat on Wall. If you're like me, you spend a lot of your free time playing video games instead of doing productive things with your life, like, researching new life skills or studying your clavicular Bible. If you're also like me, you browse the in-game stores of these games and you're scratching your head like, huh? What? Why? Will my dad ever be proud of me? All of these thoughts while you look at the price of your favorite titty skin. This is because games charge an exuberant amount of your hard-earned money you now have to ration to buy a fourth a tank of gas.
Alright, here's the keys to your zero-bed, zero-bath apartment.
Oh, at last, true American freedom! So, I did a thing. Anyway, I'm signing a new bill into law called the Fuck You, Eat Shit, and Die Bill.
Especially if it's a free-to-play game, which fundamentally sounds counterintuitive, right? Why would you charge more on free-to-play games? But we'll get to that. So the common price point for your high-tier slot in a video game is $20. Now to me, this sounds wrong, right? Because I would never willingly buy something cosmetic like this at such a cost, especially with the political and socioeconomic state of the world we live in. So if I'm priced out at probably around $5, and most gamers are not incredibly wealthy people that also share my sentiment, why do game companies keep charging these prices? Does this model not starkly contrast basic economic ideas of supply and demand? Will my dad? Well, as it turns out, people who are paid to accumulate the most amount of money possible out of these IPs have obviously already considered this much more reasonable price, like the aforementioned $5, and decided it was a worse idea. You see, as a person like me with an okay understanding of economics and no time in the market, looks at this model and sees a bunch of red flags, while corporate suits that make all of their money off of this and have experience doing this for God knows how long, it's the only real way to suck the most amount of money possible out of their game. This is what's known as the whale model. Meet the whales of the gaming industry. These sweaty Redditors are what's keeping their in-game stores in most games from being affordable, while also funding the projects and people behind your favorite shit, so it's not all bad. In fact, they just may be keeping your favorite free-to-play games afloat entirely. The leading industry studies I've found show that 0.15% of average game player bases account for 50% of the revenue. 50%. You should thank them. Get up. Salute. Rise, you cheap fucking suckers. But why must it be set up this way? And how is this possibly the most profitable way to earn if people like me, who play a lot of video games, are just priced out? Well, earlier I asked how this framework falls in line with basic supply and demand models of econ, and it does quite well because of the whales and something called the conversion wall. The conversion wall is a very real idea that over 95% of players are not priced out at all, rather either philosophically or most of the time financially committed to playing the game for free entirely. If you lower the price of the skin from $20 to $5, which seems like a decent idea on the surface, you hurt your bottom line, because it doesn't automatically mean quintupling the amount of people who are buying the skin. You're just simply losing out on those $15 that 2% of the player base would have purchased anyway. To these people that create a huge amount of money for the studio, the difference between $5 and $20 is really negligible, and this is known as inelastic demand. The conversion wall is also why it's much more profitable for the free-to-play games in specific to adopt this model, because most people who are in the free-to-play setting often lie behind it anyway. There's no financial barrier of entry, so why would they ever commit to spending money on a cosmetic item? With that being said, why do these dudes do it? Well, for one, because gaming is a lot of people's lives and they could care less regardless. It's also because of the artificial scarcity they create in these games anyway. I say artificial because the cost of producing and selling a fucking skin in a video game is negligible, really. The supply is infinite, but they charge a large amount of money. The poors lose access, which is fantastic news for the big guys. If every player like myself gets a skin for $5, the whales are actually less inclined to purchase the digital good, because it would lose the prestige of owning a fucking $50 exclusive bubble bath emote. Also, this is exactly why loot boxes with a 0.001% chance to get anything decent is such a profitable mechanism. It's the artificial scarcity. So this is what's up with this system. For an example, let's say you're a suit behind these big games and have a target goal of making 100k off this titty skin bundle you're about to release. As it turns out, it is much easier to convince 5,000 gamers to spend $20 instead of convincing 20,000 gamers to spend $5 because of the conversion wall, the whale's price inelasticity, and the artificial scarcity they pump into the market.
I have done the cheap money shot one other time.
So real. X is so real.
It is what it is, guys.
X is so real, bro.
You're not a real man if you hadn't hit the bullseye on your chin once at least.
To me, this is really fucking interesting. It says a lot about modern consumerism. What's funny is what inspired this video for me was looking at a Narbash skin from the game predecessor, a MOBA with a very small player base. The skin is $16, but it's in-game currency, of course. And they don't have an in-game purchase option for that. So the closest one is like $22 or something for one skin. I was gonna spend $16 on anyway. And I was thinking, why? This can't be more profitable than just making this skin $4 so everyone would be willing to buy it. But instead of doing a deep dive into that, let's take a look at the game League of Legends. For starters, the conversion rate, or the people who are willing to spend any money at all for the game, is 3.75 to 5%, which falls in line for the average amount we talked about earlier. So just to reiterate, if Riot were to suddenly drop all the skins to $5, they wouldn't get enough new regular players to buy the skins at that price for that to be a good idea, even a little bit. Ultimate skins in League of Legends cost 3,250 RP, which is 25 fucking bucks essentially. Here's where things get wild. The average revenue per daily active user, or the ARPDAU, for the game is almost 50 cents. This seems like nothing, right? But think about it. More than 95% of players don't spend a single cent. Since the skins are so much money and seem exclusive enough, this small percentage of people are able to carry an entire 130 to 150 million active users per month into spending 50 cents each. This game generates over $1.5 billion a year. A free game with $30 skins. That's fucking nuts. If you're curious what the ARPDAU is for games that have pay-to-win mechanics for like gear and stuff, which I know you are because these numbers are cool as fuck, dude. Forget about it. That shit's a trip, man. Google that shit. That's all I really have to say. Let me know if you like this video where I applied a little bit of what I learned in my classes. If you want more videos like this, let me know. If you don't, let me know too, please, because I'd love any feedback at all on the editing or anything, really. Thank you, guys. Make sure to pay off your local Redditor today for paying off your favorite free-to-play game devs, while us brokies are almost finished Klarna financing off our big arch burgers. Take care, guys.